Hi guys, I'm Michelle. Just here to give you hopefully a really yummy Hatha Yoga class that's suitable for beginners or those of you that might be pregnant, growing your own little human in there. So there's lots of modifications that will accommodate a growing belly, or just if you're not particularly feeling very flexible or very high energy today. Couple of props that you might need. You don't need them if you don't have them. But I've got two yoga blocks here and a bolster. You could also have um, a blanket if you find that easier to sit on, to raise your hips up a little bit, or a small cushion off the sofa or something like that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to begin sitting on our mat in a pose that's comfortable for yourself. So if you like to start sitting in a cross-legged position, if you find this comfortable, great. If you don't, you can sit on the cushion, raise your hips up a little bit. It makes it a lot more comfortable for some people. And what I want you to do is just kind of relax and start to close down your eyes if you feel comfortable to do that, and just concentrate on your breath. Just listen to it coming in and out, breathing nice and gently. Now we're going to take a couple of breaths together. So we're going to breathe in for a count of 4 and breathe out for a count of 6. Just take some nice deep breaths. So when you're ready, we'll begin. So breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. One more time, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and then breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want you to take a big deep breath in through your nose. Fill yourself all the way up to the top of your lungs, right up to your collarbones, and let it out with a great big sigh out through your mouth and go. Now, I'm going to start with a little warm up, just a really nice gentle one here. So I want you to concentrate on sitting up nice and tall. You want your back to be nice and straight. You can see me from the side here. I don't want to be hunched over like this. So up nice and tall, head facing forward, reaching the crown to the top of the head. Pop your hands on your knees initially. And what we're going to start off with is some easy neck circles. We're going to go 5 in one direction and 5 in the other. I want you to time it with your breath. So we'll breathe in as we go around, and then out. That's 1 and 2. Just make sure that you're not cranking your neck too far back. That's 3 and 4 and 5. And then we're going to go the other way. So breathe in and out. That's 1. Breathe in and out. That's 2. Breathe in and out. That's 3. Breathe in and out. That's 4. Breathe in and out. And that's 5. And if you're anything like me and you've been hunched over your phone all day, you'll have felt that neck cracking quite a lot. So now what we're going to do, still sitting in our nice upright positions, we're going to do some shoulder rolls. So first off, we're going to take them forward, up, back, and down, just like this. Okay, and we're going to breathe in. We're going to raise them up. So breathe in and bring them up, and slide your shoulder blades down your back as you exhale. That's 1. Breathe in, up, back, and all the way down. That's 2. Breathe in, up, Breathe out, down. Slide your shoulder blades down the back of your neck. That's 3. Breathe in. Slide your shoulder blades down your back. That's 4. Up. Breathe out as you slide them down the back. You should already feel like you're sitting up a little bit taller. We're going to reverse those circles, okay? So we're going to breathe in as we come up and over. Breathe out as we come down. That's 1. Up, back and down. That's 2. Up, back and down. That's 3. Up, back and down. That's 4. And then final one. And that's 5. It's a really good stretches to do if you're sitting at your desk all day. Give yourself a little shimmy of the shoulders, just to help you kind of feel like you're sitting up a little bit taller. So we're going to get started now properly into our sun salutations. So these are modified to make them a bit easier on a pregnant body. I'm going to do a full plank, but if at any point you want to do a half plank and drop down to your knees, please do feel free to do that. And I'll show you where that is as we go along, okay? So make your way to standing. I'm going to come to the top of your mat. Now if you feel like you need it, you can use your blocks here to make the ground come a little bit higher up to you if you're struggling to reach the ground in the forward fold. Traditional sun salutations, you take your legs close together, but what we're going to do is we're going to have them probably about hip width distance apart here, just to allow for a little bit more room for that little growing human in your tummy, okay? So I'm going to stand at the top. Each movement has a breath, and I'll cue you as to when we inhale and when we exhale. So we're going to start now. We're going to inhale, raise our arms up. And then exhale as we forward fold. Now here what we're trying to do is to keep our legs quite straight and also our spine straight as well. So no hunching over like this. And this is where you can use the air blocks to make the ground a little bit taller if you can't get all the way down. Do feel free as well just to widen your stance a little bit if you need a bit more space in the hips. Now we're going to breathe in and bring our right leg back. Big step back into a nice lunge. Look forwards, keeping your knee over your ankle. And then you're going to breathe in, come back into plank. This is the point where you can come down onto your knees if you like. Hold your breath in, and you're going to come back into child's pose as you exhale. On an inhale, come up into tabletop, tuck your toes, lift your hips nice and high, into a downward facing dog. And here what we're going to do is we're going to try and wrap our biceps underneath our triceps underneath our arms. Our shoulder blades are going to come down our back, keeping our spine nice and straight. Try and get your heels down to the floor if you can. It's a goal, not a prerequisite, so don't worry if you can't do that just yet. Now we're going to inhale and we're going to bring our right leg back forward to meet our right hand. Pop our left knee down, untuck that toe, look forward, keeping our chest nice and broad. Tuck that back toe under, breathe out as you come back up into that nice forward fold. Again, remembering to keep your back nice and straight. And don't forget about your neck, that's definitely your head. Your head can be really heavy, so keep that as well. Keep that nice and straight as well. And come up, breathe in as you come all the way up to the top. Hands by your ears, and then exhale. Namaste. I'm going to try that again. We'll speed it up a little bit more now, okay? So breathe in, raise the arms up, look up. Breathe out, forward fold. Breathe in, take the left leg back this time, knee down. Hands to the floor. Breathe in to plank. Breathe out to child's pose. Breathe in to tabletop, and then breathe out to downward facing dog. Breathe in, stepping forward with the left foot this time. Untuck the toe, nice and broad across the collarbones. Tuck that back toe back up, and come back up into your forward fold. Breathe in, arms up to the ceiling. Breathe out, hands to heart center. So good news, we've got another 4 of those to go. That's 2 on each side. So breathe in, arms up, look up. Breathe out, forward fold. Breathe in, right leg back, knee down, toes untucked. Breathe in, plank, knees down, breathe out, child's pose. Breathe in, tabletop. Breathe out, downward facing dog. Breathe in, right foot forward. Breathe out, forward fold. Breathe in, hands to the sky. Breathe out, hands to heart center. One more time. Breathe in, arms up. Breathe out, forward fold. Breathe in, left foot back. Breathe in, plank pose. Breathe out to your child's pose. Breathe in, coming up to tabletop. And breathe out to downward facing dog. Breathe in, left foot forward. And breathe out to your forward fold. Breathe in all the way up. And breathe out, hands to heart center. Okay, final round. Breathe in, hands all the way up. Breathe out, forward fold. Breathe in, right foot back. Hold the breath into plank. And breathe out into your child's pose. Breathe in, tabletop position. And breathe out into your downward facing dog. Breathe in to your lunge. And breathe out to your forward fold. Breathe in all the way up to the top. And breathe out, hands to heart center. Final time. Breathe in, arms up. Breathe out, forward fold. Breathe in, left leg back. Retain the breath into plank. Breathe out into your child's pose. Breathe in into your tabletop position. Breathe out into your downward facing dog. Breathe in, left foot forward. Breathe out into your forward fold. Breathe in, arms all the way up to the sky. And breathe out. Now, stay in that mountain pose for a few breaths to get your breath back. So just stand nice and tall. Make sure your tailbone's not sticking out like this. Tuck it under, palms facing forwards. Close down the eyes. Take a couple of breaths here. Okay, we're going to go on to a few asanas, which are the poses. With these, we're going to hold each pose for slightly longer, so between 5 and 8 breaths. Just breathe nice and slowly and evenly. Don't go beyond your range of motion, don't hold a stretch that's too hard for you. And you can always modify with blocks if you need to, and I'll tell you where you can do that. So come to the top of your mat again, feet slightly wider this time than you were doing in your sun salutations, so slightly wider than hip distance apart. And we're going to do we're going to do a forward fold here. So standing in your mountain pose, take a nice deep breath in, roll the shoulders back, and on your exhale, bend forward from the hips and come all the way down. Again, the goal here is to have a straight leg and a straight back. If you need to, you can bring the floor to your hands with your blocks, so either on the higher setting, the next setting down, or the final setting, or you can rest your hands on the floor or on your shins. So we're going to take 8 breaths here. So that's 1. And while you're concentrating on your breath, I want you also to think about making sure that your spine is nice and straight. See, there's no hunch. I'm not doing this, I'm not trying to get to my knees. That should be 4 breaths by now. And try and straighten your legs as much as possible, but don't overextend. 7 and 8. Now bend your knees ever so slightly. What we're going to do is we're going to go into a lunge. We've already done this motion. So we're going to plant our hands on the floor. We're going to take our right leg all the way back. And as you can see here, if you can even see my foot, your knee is in line with your ankle here. Now what you can do is you can stay here if this is more comfortable for you, if your balance isn't feeling great. You can take your blocks, raise yourself up ever so slightly on your blocks on its highest setting. If your balance is feeling okay today, then you can decide to come all the way up. So don't just wrench yourself up. So come up here, put your hands on your knee and bring yourself up. Now at this point, if you would like to get some nice deep breaths in and help breathe a little bit easier with the baby growing inside you, so you can actually raise your arms up like this, and that should give you a little bit more space to breathe. Feel free to bring your legs a little bit wider, it will help with your balance. And we're going to stay here for another 5 breaths. If you don't feel comfortable with your hands above your head, you can put them on your waist as well, or even on your lower back. If you're not pregnant, you'd like to add a bit of a back bending, do feel free. You can come back like this, or raise your hands up overhead like that. And that should be 8 now. So we're going to bring our hands forward again. I'm going to use my blocks here, so I'm going to shimmy my foot in a little bit. Bring that back foot up, bring your foot forward, and we're going to come back into that nice forward fold. As you can see here, what I'm doing is I'm using my block to create a little bit more space. It allows me to get my hamstrings that little bit straighter. And I'm not tempted to round my back to try and reach my knees. Another 3 breaths here. And then what we're going to do again, take a nice bend in that knee, and we're going to take our left leg back this time into a nice low lunge again. So once again, if you want to, you can stay with your hands on the block or on the floor, or you can put your hands on your knee, come upright and stay here, arms up, hands on the waist, hands on the lower back, take a back bend. And we're going to be here for another 5 breaths. That's 3, and 4, and 5. Reaching forward, putting your hands down onto the floor, lift your back leg up, bring that leg forward, and we're going to roll all the way up to standing. Bring our hands over our heads for a second, and then come back, hands through heart center. And when we've done some forward folds, we always need to bend the back in the opposite direction. And this one's really quite a nice one. When you're pregnant, you can't do too much lying on your tummy. You're quite uncomfortable, not really good for the baby. So you can do a standing cobra, which is what we're going to do here now. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your hands, you're going to move them behind your back, interlace your fingers, and you're going to roll your shoulders back, like this, and then lean back. So the idea isn't that you stick your bottom out like this. Keep your hips forward, your head back slightly. As I said before, just remember that your neck is an extension of your spine, so don't jerk it too much out of position. So we've got another 5 breaths here in this pose. this is too much on your shoulders, you can always come put your hands here on your lower back and then just lean back from here. 7, and final breath. 8. So unclasp your hands gently, don't swing them around, and come back into your mountain pose. So now what we're going to do is a little bit of a tricky one. We're going to do some balancing. So we're going to do a tree pose. So there's a couple of options here that I'm going to show you before we start, because I might fall over if I try when we're doing it. So with a tree pose, you have a couple of options. If your balance isn't feeling good, your hips aren't very open, you can keep one foot on the floor and just prop your heel up against your ankle. You want to make sure that you're facing straight forward and your hips as square as possible. And you can either have your hands in prayer pose or on your hips. If your balance is feeling a little bit better, you can bring your foot up to just below your knee. Never put it on your knee though. And then if your balance is feeling really good, then you can put your foot all the way up. Okay, and keep it there. You always want to push your standing leg into your lifted leg. If your balance is feeling really, really dodgy, grab yourself a bit of a hand from your nearest shelf or wall, person that's in the room, whatever you've got. Okay, so standing on your mat, we're going to start with our right leg. So hands to the waist, make sure your shoulders are up, back and down, you're standing nice and tall. Going to lift up the right toe, the right heel, balancing on the toes, and then pick your variation here. So I'm going to go with the one just below my knee, and you turn the right hip out and balance here. There's options with your arms as well, so you can come into hands at heart center. If you're feeling brave, you can lift your arms up. If you're feeling very brave, you can do that and close your eyes. If you fall over though, as you can see, that's absolutely fine, we all do it. Okay, another couple of breaths here. Bring the hands back to heart center and foot gently to the floor or fall down, whatever is easiest. Try not to fall too hard. So next pose here is we're gonna do it on the left hand side. Sorry. So once again, we're gonna raise up that foot, resting on the ball of the feet, and then pick your option. Try and do the same on both sides if you can with this one. As I said, feel free to grab hold of the wall, and if you fall over, just laugh at yourself. We all do these things, okay? So I'm gonna change my arm position here and put my hands at heart center. Just spot yourself on the wall, so pick one point in front of you that isn't moving. And we're gonna hold this for another couple of breaths. Okay, lovely. As you can see, my balance is definitely better when I'm not putting my arms up. Gently put that foot down and bring your arms to the side. Stand here again just to get your equilibrium back. Balancing can be quite tricky, certainly not easy for a lot of us. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to come down to our mat. We're going to do a couple of cat-cow poses. So come down to a kneeling posture. And then bring your hands down onto the floor as well. So your knees should be in line with your hips and your hands in line with your shoulders. Turn your hands ever so slightly out. I don't know if you can see that, so that your first fingers are pointing forwards as opposed to your middle fingers. And it helps to keep your shoulders in line. And what we're going to do is we're going to do 8 rounds of these. So on the in-breath, we're going to drop our belly, look forward, spread our collarbone, and on the out breath, we're going to arch our back, just like a cat. Haven't yet worked out where the first one looks like a cow. Okay, so in, breathe in, arch that back, slide your shoulder blades down, and then breathe out, pulling your tailbone under, and rounding between your shoulder blades, head down. Breathe in, and then breathe out. Breathe in, and out. Breathe in, breathe out. That's 4. And then you're going to do another 4 just in time with your own breath. Lovely. Final exhalation, breathe it all out. Now we're going to come to a seated posture on the floor. So swing your legs around to one side. For this one, you might find that you need your blocks. And if when you were in easy pose, you found it easier to sit on a blanket or a cushion, please do feel free to do this. We're going to do a seated forward fold as well. So that'll help give you a bit more space and a bit of lift in your hips to help you sit a bit further forward. What we're going to do is we're going to do it's called staff pose, and you might need your blocks here. So I want you to sit up nice and tall, legs out in front of you. Get the fleshy bit of your bottom out from underneath you so that your tailbone is anchored onto the floor. Legs together, outstretched. Feet, toes curling back up towards you, sitting up nice and tall and facing forwards. Now, you can rest your hands beside you and push up. If your body is quite long compared to your arms, you might find it a little bit easier to take your block on its lower setting and just put that next to you. And that gives you a little bit more lift, and you can lift up like that. Keep pulling your toes towards your face, shoulders back and down, and lifting up. I'm going to stay here for 8 breaths. Keep pulling those toes back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now if you're using your blocks, you can pop them to one side. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do a seated forward fold. Now, if you have space in your abdomen, if you're not pregnant, you can do this with your legs together if you like. If you like a bit more space for your abdomen, a bit more space in your hips and your hamstrings, then you can pop your legs a little bit further, a bit wider, just past hip distance, the same as we were doing in our standing forward folds. Same principles apply, so just make sure that you're not hunching your back over like this. Okay, we don't want to encourage that. Very easy to get to your knees if you hunch over. But that's not the goal here. Again, we're trying to keep nice straight legs with our toes pointing towards our face and a nice flat back. So we want to roll your shoulders back, sit up nice and tall, and lean forward and hinge from your hips here. Now, if this is as far as you can get with a forward fold, that's great. If you can grab your toes, fantastic. Sides of your feet, great. Again though, as you can see, I'm trying to keep my back nice and straight and then bending with my elbows so that I'm not tempting to do this. So once you find your position, and whether that's here, 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 or if you're really lucky, you can get all the way down and even peace fingers around your toes at this point. So keep that back nice and straight. And we're here for another 5 breaths. That's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back up, straighten up that back as if you were doing a halfway lift when you're standing, and bring your hands back up. Now, as I said before, when we do a forward fold, we like to do a back bend. In this situation, what we're going to do is we're going to do a camel prep. It's not a full camel, but it's a good starting point for a beginner. So you're going to come up onto your knees, nice and gently does it. You want your knees to be hip width apart. And what we're going to do here is we're going to pop our hands on our lower spine, just kind of where your bum meets your back, and roll your shoulders back. Push your hips forward as you lean back and use your hands to support your back. And bring your head with you, but don't let it drop back like that. Remember, as I said, it is part of your spine. Keep it in a nice neutral position. If that's really uncomfortable, you can rest your head on your chest. So we're going to stay here, pushing our hips forward. The other thing to remember is that you want to be pulling your inner thighs towards each other as if you're squeezing a block. And actually, if you do want to pop a block between your thighs to do that, to give you a good aid, you absolutely can do that as well. Another 4 breaths here. Those of you who did want to come into camel, then you would just lean further back and bend all the way back. You can reach your heels. Do that with both hands. Or reach the floor if your back is super bendy. Keep pushing your hips forward. Remember, it's the same as the standing one. Don't let your bottom stick out the back. And then ease yourself back up to your kneeling position. And what we're going to do now is we're going to start off and we're going to do a bridge posture. And then you have the options of being able to come into a shoulder stand and then a plow. If shoulder stand isn't in your practice and hasn't been in your practice pre-pregnancy, if that's your situation, then maybe avoid that today. What you can do is, and I'll demonstrate it as we're going to go into it, is you can just have your legs up, and actually you can go and run to a wall, have your legs up with the wall. You still get all the benefits of an inversion without it being quite so stressful on your neck. You could also take your Hatha Yoga bolster and pop that under your bottom to raise your hips up if you're not next to a wall, and take a supported shoulder stand that way. You could also do a shoulder stand against the wall if you are pregnant and has previously been in your practice. So you would want to have yourself at sort of a 45-degree angle with your feet on the wall supporting you, so that your neck and your back is not taking your entire weight. When it comes to the plow, that's where your legs go all the way over the back of your head. If you find the compression too much, please do feel free to skip it. You can stay in shoulder stand or with your legs up. If you find that you're comfortable to do it, you can do it in a supported manner with a chair behind you, and you can raise the floor up to meet your feet. Or you could put your blocks or your bolster and pop your feet on those as well. All of those options are available if you need them. But we're going to start off with those, a bridge pose, just a prep. So we're going to come down and lie on our backs to start off with. So we're going to come all the way down to the floor and keeping our knees bent. Snuggle our shoulders under our shoulder blades. So bring your feet as close as you can get them to your bottom. Have to shimmy down a little bit further. Hands flat on the floor, even though you can't see mine just now. And what you're going to do is you're going to gradually peel your tailbone up off the floor and come up onto your shoulders. Snuggle your shoulder blades down a little bit further and bring yourself up into the bridge posture. Tuck your chin to your chest and then lift your chin up. Option to keep your hands where they are, or you can interlock them, if you can see, under your bottom. Push your shoulders into the floor and your upper arms. And we're going to stay here for 8 breaths. So that's 1, 2, and the same as when we were in camel pose, you want to imagine that you're squeezing that block between your inner thighs. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. If you've got your hands clasped behind you, just release them nice and gently, and then you're going to put your spine back down onto the floor, one vertebrae at a time, ending with your tailbone. Now we're going to go into our shoulder stands here. Now your options, as I've said before, if you don't have shoulder stand in your practice, it's probably best not to learn from a video. Go and get an in-class teaching. If you would like to have a more restorative practice at the moment, then you can just lift your legs up like this. And we're going to stay here for 16 breaths. And in the shoulder stand, you can just stay with your legs up like that. And you can pop that block or bolster under your bottom, like this. Very gracefully, like that. And that supports you with your legs up and your hips raised ever so slightly. Caught one out there. If you do want to do a shoulder stand though, we're going to put our hands flat on the floor, the same as we did with our bridge posture. Bring our knees up to our chest. Bring our legs up over our head. We're going to pop our hands just here, our lower back, and we're going to come up into the full shoulder stand. So you want your body to be in a straight line. It's really important at this point not to move your neck around. And we're going to stay here for 16 breaths. If at any point it gets too much for you, you can bring your legs over your head ever so slightly to a 45-degree angle like this. Keep your chin locked to your chest. Another 5 breaths here. 3 and 4 and 5. Now, bending your legs over your head. We're going to come into plow. If you're in the legs up the wall posture, without the wall, just feel free to keep your legs where they are, or you can bring them down and take an extended rest in Shavasana. We're going to bring, if you're in plow, our legs go all the way over behind us. Feet touch the floor, legs nice and straight, lifting the pelvis up. And then you can take your hands and interlock them, the same as we did in our bridge posture. Now at this point, you may find that you feel like you're being smothered. Well, that's okay, we've only got another 5 breaths here. That's 4 and 5. Unclasp your hands, bend your knees, touch them to your forehead, and bring your hands to your lower back again. Bring the legs up, back up to that 45-degree angle, and then slowly, with your hands down as an anchor, bring yourself all the way down, and your feet down to the floor. Now as a counter posture to that, we're going to do a pose called fish pose. If you find this too intense, do feel free to support yourself with a block. So you can pop a block under your shoulder blades and under your head as well. But what we're going to do just now is we're going to take our hands and we're going to pop them underneath our bottoms, stretch our legs out straight, lift ourselves up onto our elbow like this, right the way up and look forward. And then we're going to drop our head back, and we're going to rest our head on the crown of the head on the floor. And we are literally just resting our head here. This isn't, you're not dropping all of your weight down onto your neck. So I'm going to stay here for the same amount of time we were in plow. It should have been half of the amount for the shoulder stand. So there's another 3 breaths here to go. Pushing up and lifting up out of your elbows and keeping that head just resting on the floor. Last breath here. Bring your head, neck up, and then all the way down onto the floor and take your hands out from underneath you. Now, what you want to do here is we're going to sit up now. So we're going to do a bound angle pose or a cobbler's pose. So here you're going to step, if you can see, with your feet together and your knees out wide. And feel free just to stay here in this posture, that's absolutely fine. Or you can take a forward fold. Once again, same rules apply with a forward fold, so please don't hunch your back. So if you are going to take if you're not taking the forward fold, just sit up nice and tall, pushing your knees down, letting them hang heavy to the floor, keeping that chest nice and broad in front of you. If you want to take the forward fold at this point, take hold of your feet and spread them apart as if you're opening the page of a book. And then forward fold, bringing your elbows out to the side. It adds a little bit of weight and helps push your knees down. And come as far forward as you feel able to do. I'm going to take another 8 breaths here in this pose. And 4. And 5. And 6. And 7. And 8. Bring yourself up. Lovely. Now you're going to take your right leg and you're going to bring that out to the side and bring your left leg and bring that in to touch on your inside thigh. And then we're going to reach our hands up and we're going to stretch over and reach our right foot. Now you can do a full forward fold. You can do a side stretch. Whatever you feel that your midsection is able to cope with today. Another 5 breaths here in this pose. Come up, nice and gentle. And you're going to switch legs. So take the left leg out nice and wide and bring the right leg in. And we're going to stretch over, hold on to your left foot and come down. Twisting over the leg and moving forwards. Bring your chest towards your knee, not your forehead. If you can't reach your toes, reach your calves, your ankles, your knee. If you just want to stay sitting up, that's okay too. And like I said, you can take it as a side stretch as well. Another 2 breaths in this posture. And come up. And we're going to take another a very wide leg forward fold this time. So we're going to take both our legs out to the side, much wider posture than we were in before. And fold forward as much as you can. Once again, shimmying your bottom out from your glutes out from under your bottom. And you're going to come forwards, bring your hands forwards. And again, you don't want to be hunching the back over. So not like this, not like that, not bringing our head to the floor. Once again, the goal is just to bring our chest forwards, and you can bring your hands onto the floor. If you're able, you can bring your elbows down, but don't do that if you're hunching like me. So just as far forward as you're able with a nice straight back. And stay here for another couple of breaths. Final breath in and out, and walk yourself back up to seated. I'm going to come back to our nice easy pose that we were in before. So whatever seated posture is easiest for yourself. Again, if you want to elevate your hips up with a cushion or a folded blanket, please do feel free to do that. I'm just going to do a couple of very easy twists. Don't go too far. If it feels uncomfortable, please don't do that. You can just stay here in a seat. Please do listen to your body when you're doing this. So what we're going to do is we're going to raise both our arms up overhead. Take a nice deep breath in. And then on the exhale, we're going to pop our left hand on our right knee. And we're going to put our right hand behind us, twisting first from the upper back and then moving that twist all the way down. And keep your spine nice and straight. Tag weight in both of the knees. Look over your right shoulder. Keep both of your shoulders down. If you need to, you can bring the floor up to you by using your block. I'm very handily, my bolster is right behind me. So that's what I'm using today. Breathe deep into the belly in your twist. And then on your next exhale, bring your head back to center and let the whole body follow you. Hands back on the knees. Sweep your hands up, breathe in. Right hand to left knee. And bring your left hand behind you. Twisting again from your upper back. All the way down through your spine. Just a nice gentle twist. You don't want to crank it or twist too hard. Look over your left shoulder if that's available to you. If not, you can look forwards. Breathing nice and deeply into your belly. Sitting up nice and tall, keeping that spine straight. And then on your next exhale, bring your head back to center and untwist. That should feel really nice. Again, that's another one that you can do if you're sitting at your desk all day, hunched over your computer. You can do a couple of nice twists like that, which should make your back feel great. The other thing that you can do, actually, I might as well tell you while I'm talking about it, is some seated cat-cows as well. So the same motion that we did before, where on your exhale, you do this. So you're leaning all the way back. I'll turn this way to show you. All the way back like that. And then on your inhale, you're just rolling your shoulders down your back and leaning your chest forward. And then exhale back. And then inhale like that. Absolutely lovely stretch for those of you guys working from home during these times. Well, now that we've kind of wound down the practice, it's time for the best bit. So if you want to make your way lying down into Shavasana, if lying on your back flat doesn't feel great for you, this is where your props can come into play again. So you can take your bolster and you can pop that under your knees, like this. So when you're lying down on your back, your knees are raised ever so slightly. If that's still uncomfortable and doesn't work for you, you could also, for your final rest pose, if you like, lie on your back with your knees knocking together. So that sort of motion. Or if it's really far on into your pregnancy and you're very uncomfortable lying on your back, you could take a Shavasana lying on your side and use your bolster between your knees to support yourself. So come down into your final resting pose. So for a traditional savasana, it's lying on your back. Bring your shoulder blades down your back, palms facing up, feet flat on the floor. Take your feet as wide as your yoga mat, even wider if you fancy it. Take up a lot of space and close down your eyes. I'm going to do a full body relaxation now. So I want you to lift your right leg up a couple of inches off the floor and drop it down. Lift your left leg up a couple of inches off the floor, drop it down. Lift both legs up, drop them down. Tense both your thighs, release. Lift your bottom up off the ground, release. Clench your stomach and release. Lift your right hand up off the ground, drop it down. Lift your left hand up off the ground, drop it down. Lift both hands up off the ground, make a really tight fist. Stretch your fingers out really wide, drop both hands down. Lift your chest up off the floor, drop it down. Pull your shoulders right up to your ears, drop them down. Scrunch your face up as hard as you can, and then open your eyes, open your mouth, and have a massive breath by going stick your tongue out, scare the cat. Close down your eyes. I'm going to work on some 3-part breathing here. So 3-part breathing is where you breathe into your belly, then into your chest, and then into your collarbone. So you fill up from your belly to your chest, to your collarbone, and then when you breathe out, it goes collarbone, chest, belly. If you find it easier to put one hand on your stomach and one hand on your chest while you do this, please do feel free to do that. Can help visualize where you're breathing to. If not, keep your hands facing up on the floor, or if you feel really stressed and you want a more grounded practice, please do put your hands flat on the floor when you're lying in Shavasana. It can really help to feel the ground under your fingertips. So we're going to start our 3-part breath. So breathe into your belly, then fill it up into your chest, and then bring it all up into your collarbone, right up to your throat, and then let it out gently from your collarbone to your chest, to your belly, and extend it all the way out. And do that again. So breathe in, fill yourself right up to the top, and release. Breathe out. And again, breathe in, starting with your belly, into your chest, up into your collarbones. Take another sip of air in if you can. And then breathe out, coming from your collarbones first, then your chest, and then your belly. And empty all of that air out. In again. Taking that extra sip. And then breathe out. Do this a few more times in your own time. Sometimes it can be quite hard to breathe when you're growing a baby inside you. It takes up a lot of space. And if you do find it quite difficult, concentrating on breathing techniques like this can really help. as can breathing with your arms above your head, as that opens up your thoracic cavity, helps you to get a little bit more air inside you, especially if there's a lot of extra human inside of you. So you can do this 3-part breathing in supported poses, with your arms out into a cactus shape, or up above your head, and that can help open up your lungs a little bit and allow you to get a bit more air in. And keep doing this 3-part breath for another 3 breaths at your own speed. And let's make this your last 3-part breath. Should be feeling really relaxed and really oxygenated and ready to face whatever else that you're doing today. Just slowly bring yourself back into the room, into your body. Wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, lick your lips, shake your head from side to side gently on the floor, massaging the back of your head. We're going to make our way back into a comfortable seat of your choice. So if you're on your back, roll over onto your side, and lie there using your pillow as, your arms as a pillow for a couple of breaths. If you're already on your side, you're already there, remove your bolster. And then using your arms, push yourself up into a comfortable seated position. If it's more comfortable for you to be kneeling at this point, then please do carry on and do that. We're just going to close down our practice now. So if you want to close your eyes, take a great big breath in and out. Going to end our practice with 1 Om. So if you bring your hands together at heart center, take a deep breath in. Om. Open your eyes. Thank you very much for sharing your practice with me today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Namaste.